Mr. Murphy, if I may.
Yes.
We disagreed with the schedule the way it was, and we're looking to change that now. I mean, it's
And I
fine,
agree-
it may have been the prevailing thought at the time, but we're looking to amend that to correct a wrong and make these fees amenable.
And I think that's a good thing. I disagree with the fee, even though you've lowered them, I still think that they should be lowered even further. But that's just the surface level problem. The real problem is it the proper role of government to act as a barrier to entry to anybody in any industry? So the wider question is, what is the brick and mortar restaurants in town paying? Are they commiserate with this new fee schedule, given that they're full-time year-round? And are there any other instances of rent seeking going on within anything else that you have oversight on? That's really the issue here tonight. Not just the fee schedules for this young entrepreneur. It's more of a case of, is the town also acting as a barrier to entry in other areas?
Skip, we're here to determine these fees. You're going into another area.
It's a related area, and it's actually a foundational area. Because you're absolutely right, you're correcting a wrong, in that you're correcting a foundational problem that, yeah, the fees are one thing, but I think you've realized that the town was acting as a barrier to entry. My only question is, what else is the town doing to act as a barrier to entry for other companies in other entries, making Guilford not a good place for entrepreneurs to come? If you've done it once, are you doing it again?
Can we discuss this in the public input?
I thought this was public input. This is a public hearing.
A public hearing on fees.
On the vendor
Okay.
fees, we're
We're
just straying a little bit off subject here.
Okay, well, that is my intent, and if we wish to save this argument for the public comment, I'm very
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, one thing though, Mr. Murphy, just before you go, you suggested that perhaps the proposed fees might be still, do you have some suggestions you would like to make in that regard?
Well, I do, as a matter of fact. And I can give them to you. I will circle them, and I will also circle my real answer to that, which was $25 to $50 per year, flat fee.
Okay, so just a straightforward fee, no graduated one.
Correct, just to cover the cost of the paperwork. To print it, file it, and be done with it.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on the vendor permit fees? Pro or con? There being no further public input, we'll close the public portion. You see anything there?
Yeah, I do. I just, I'm just going just to amend things slightly
Yeah.
here. Okay. Mr. Chair, I move to amend the proposed vendor fee as outlined in the public hearing proposal from the list we had prior. I'm not going to repeat them, let me fill them, to $25 flat fee for vendor permits. That would be just the application fee would be good for the year.
Is there a second? Appears the motion fails for lack of a second.
In that case, I will try another one, is to amend the application fee for vendor permit to $50 for the year.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Certainly.
Please. T.A. Dunn, I just for clarification, when we have a notice of public hearing and we as a board of selectmen and as a town, advertise what the notice of public hearing is, and specifically regulations, ordinances, fees. At that meeting, it's okay to change whether it's an ordinance or whether it's a fee schedule without notifying the people again?
The threshold is an amendment that would be considered substantive. So it would be for you guys to determine whether the advertised fees, which is the 25, 100, 250, 500, to go to, in this current motion, $50, whether or not that is substantive.
I guess my next question, Scott, would be is if a business wanted to open up a restaurant in Guilford, what are their fees?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do not know. Clearly, there's a process through the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
There's a process through the fire department. There's state permits, health permits, but I don't know what it all ends up to be.
So my question, I guess, Scott, would be is if we change this, for instance, to the vice chair's recommendation of $25, what would that have an impact on any of the existing businesses that have to pull a permit, whether it's yearly or whatever our fee schedule is?
I'm not sure I understand it. Talking about an impact on
Existing businesses?
existing businesses that don't fall under the vendor and transient fee schedule? I really don't know the answer to that. The rules that someone operates if you're a brick and mortar are entirely different than the rules that apply to outdoor vendors and transient sales.
Thank you.
Is it my understanding there's an owner of a food truck out in the audience? Would you mind answering a question?
Yeah.
Would you step up to the podium, please? Could you identify yourself, please?
Janine Geddes.
And you drive, what product do you sell from your truck?
As far as the type of food,
Yeah.
I do breakfast and lunch items.
Okay. You've heard everything that's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
You're seasonal, or are you year-round?
Well, I'm just starting, so I'm still playing with it. So the goal is to be year-round, but with the cold months, that may not go the full year, but for most of it.
Other than a zero fee, which I'm sure you'd like to see, but would you prefer a yearly fee? I mean, is that more amenable to a truck operator, or?
Yeah, to me it makes more sense rather than going a day-to-day type process.
And if I may,
Certainly.
have you looked, since your business is just starting up, so you'd probably be fresh to this, have you looked at other towns and what their fee schedule would be for you to operate in those towns?
So today was my first day open, and I was in Laconia. They charge $50 a month. As far as I know, they didn't have a year fee. It's just a month-to-month basis. Alton, I went to Alton. I don't remember their numbers. They were very high, so they're out of the question right
When
now.
you say very high, did you look at?
$500 a month for Alton, yeah.
Yeah, they're 50 a day, 500 per month.
Yes.
So if I do the math correctly, what you're saying is Laconia for the year is $720,
If that's for, yeah.
right?
Yep.
And you said Alton for the year would be what?
I don't quite.
No, I'm asking the
Oh,
chair, hold
sorry.
on one second. No, you're
Well, it's
great.
500 per month, so times
At
12.
least be 6,000.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's 6,000 in Alton, and Guilford is proposing a $500 fee. So we're less than Laconia and less than Alton, if this was to pass.
Mm.
Have you checked in any other town, like Belmont? Do you know what Belmont is, just by chance?
Not yet. I'm planning to check there though.
You have what Belmont's is, right?
I don't have that list, I don't have that here on this list.
Meredith?
Scott, let me ask you a question. I mean, if somebody comes in just for the weekend, and we have a $500 a year thing, they have to pay $500 for a weekend?
No, they would do daily or the weekly.
Right.
They'd either do $25.
Well, his proposal is,
No, which is, what, just $50, not, that would be for the year.
yeah, okay.
So they pay for it whether they pay that $50 or whether it's for a day or for a year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time.
Could we hear again,
Thank you.
what are the items in the food truck? I couldn't hear. What is it?
I do breakfast and lunch stuff, so like breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, as far as that's breakfast, and then I have a mac and cheese burger, buffalo chicken, grilled cheese, just stuff like that.
Very good.
We wish you well in your business.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck. I mean, what if we did a daily thing for somebody that comes in for the weekend and then everyone else a yearly fee? I don't wanna charge somebody a yearly fee who's only gonna be here for a weekend.
Yeah. Well, I believe we have it broken down for daily, weekly, monthly, and then for the year, we have 4 for that. But again, $50 for the year, that's cheap.
Yeah, it is.
Croc TV.